Hey, this is StarCraft 2 History, Part 50, and 2015 is, in my opinion, the last generation of great champions, but it's not even a generation of champions. And so if you've been following this, you'll have realized there's each year there's a new rise of all-time great champions, at least for that year, or even within a period of context. So the first ones were Nesty, MC, MVP. My second ones were MMA, DRG, Marine King. Third ones were Innovation and what was it, Sulky? Yeah, I think it was Sulky. Maybe you throw in Rain in there, maybe you don't. And then fourth ones, Zest and soO. And now we come to this year. And obviously these generations are kind of vague. They generally start at the beginning of the year, in my opinion, but this 2015 is different because a bunch of these players had already risen up, but there are three new players that do rise up in 2015, but all three of them are Kongs. They are the sons of soO, and all three of them are incredible players, but once you got into the finals, they all crumbled apart. Now, the first one I'll talk about is Dream, and Dream is the guy who, if you really hate life, he is the savior of StarCraft 2 for you. And obviously you would hate life because he did the match fixing thing. And so basically Dream does the impossible in twice. He does it against he plays against life in SSL Season 1, plays against life in SSL Season 2, and he wins two of the highest profile matches in StarCraft 2 history against life in Life's Peak with a level we never see again from Dream. These are literally his two greatest series, never again matched. Ever. So, I don't know how else to emphasize that, but basically, for whatever reason, Dream plays incredibly well in these two TVZ matches, and I've said it over and over again, you have to watch it to believe it. There are basically moments where Dream has to bluff life. And what I mean by that is he's basically dead. I think it was the first one. Yeah, it was on Merry-Go-Round. So Merry-Go-Round in SSL Season 1. And Life is about to kill Dream because he all-in. And then Dream able to hold on. And then he sends a dropship over to Life with his last remaining units while he's upgrading, I think, 1-1. And this is the only time Life ever falls back when he's attacking. And the only reason Life falls back is because Dream has proven himself to be such an incredible player throughout this series that Life has been forced to respect Dream. It is, in fact, a smart move by Life to try to ensure what he believes to be the most safe move to win. But what Life doesn't know is that Dream is actually doing a double gamble. He's gambling that Life will not attack. Actually, a triple gamble. He's gambling Life will not attack. He's gambling his last remaining defending units. So that's two gambles. The third one is instead of building units or building economy, he's building the upgrades to give himself a potential chance to win. So it's incredible mind games in there as well. And if you want to watch, I think the best map two of them ever played was on Overgrowth, Game 5 of the SSL Season 2 ones. It's strategically one of the best and tactically one of the best games by both of them ever. And so, yeah, basically Dream does defeat Life. And then the only reason I'm talking about these Dream Life games is because he goes on, he plays Mario in the finals of SSL Season 1, doesn't do very well. He beats Hero, CJ Hero, in the semifinals of SSL Season 2 and then loses the Classic in the finals. And that's basically Dream's career. And he's the first Kong to rise, and then he is the first Kong to fall. The next Kong is Dark, and we all know Dark in latter day Legacy of the Void, but before he became probably the best Zerg of Legacy of the Void, I don't think there's an argument for anybody else. Maybe soO, maybe, but basically Dark had a lot of skill, but he didn't have what it took to play GSL tournaments yet. And those are obviously a very different type of tournament, but Weekenders he was pretty good. And there were two Weekenders in 2015 where he did very well. The first was as Kespa Cup Season 1, where he beats Lucira, Fantasy, Life, and then loses in the finals against CJ Hero. Pretty close series, but CJ Hero, I think, was the overall better player, so it made sense. And then the next one is the one where I thought, oh, this guy really is a Kong, because he beats Fantasy, beats Beal, beats Dream, and then plays soO in the finals, and then soO beats him pretty hard. And so soO, and this is for soO, the only tournament soO ever wins. And if you saw the video I did with Maizen, this is like the one that kind of like lifts the burden off of soO's back a little bit. So even though soO is still a choker, in my opinion, soO, it doesn't like bring him down emotionally as hard as it used to. So that's always nice to hear. But basically, this is of all the times where soO rolled up that fucking boulder up that hill, this is the only time the boulder doesn't fall down. This is the only time where soO wins that finals. And it's a very emotional moment, and it's a very funny moment, because I think there's like a Photoshop of like Dark looking on the back, and like, oh fuck, I am the next Kong. But basically, Dark is the second Kong of this generation. And then the third, and probably the greatest Kong outside of soO, is Beal. And Beal was a guy who had gone to WCSNA and was like another guy very similar to like Bomber or MMA or any of these old school like ESF players, like nobody really had a lot of respect for. But when he came back to Korea, he kind of proves how good he fucking is. Because, listen, you heard me talk all that great shit about how incredible life was and all that shit, right? And highest peak ever, arguably greatest of all time if you look at these specific cases and these specific criteria. But if you're talking about the best CVT ever, it has to be Beal. And basically, Mutaling Baneling. Basically, Beal kills all the best Terrans to the point where they all literally give up bio play to play mech play. Because Beal is the best Mutalisk player we have ever seen, will ever see. Nobody has matched him, basically. And he forces all of Korean Terrans to give up bio play and to play mech. That's how incredible Beal is. And so you go into season 2, he makes a run for it, basically. He beats, is that Liquid Hero? Wow. Okay, he's still around. Beats Liquid Hero, beats TY. He plays Dream and CJ Hero, the better version of Hero, at that point. In Group C, makes it to the playoffs, beats Parting, beats SOS. And by this point, you're like, wait a minute, he is beating a shit ton of Protoss players. Yes, he is. Beal is actually a very good ZVP player as well, even though I was talking up his ZVT, because I feel like his ZVT was much more entertaining to me personally, but his ZVP was actually quite good. But what happens is he plays against Rain, and then Rain just like beats Rain basically like evolves at this point and is both a better macro player, because if you look at the players he's beaten, Beal has beaten Hero, Parting, and SOS. All three of these guys, the way they think about the game, the way they play the game, it's all very centered around execution, early game builds, early game shenanigans, especially with SOS. And Beal is too smart. He deals with all that shit fine. But you go against Rain, and Rain is not only a better macro player than all of them, even though mechanically speaking he's probably worse than Hero and Parting. But by this point, Rain has evolved his game, and Rain takes it. And Beal loses his first GSL. And Beal is, among all the players in StarCraft 2, the only one that could truly empathize with soO in a sense, because he is going to lose a bunch of big title matches. Because you go to SSL Season 3, and SSL Season 3, he plays against Stats, still a good player. I think he was underrated at this time, but history has proven me correct. He was actually a good player, a great player. And Beal also played against Cest, beats them both. Beal goes on, plays Innovation, and this is a great series because Innovation, and I guess I'll give the timeline here. Basically, it's the August of 2015, so it's pretty far down the stretch in terms of the year, and very similar to 2014. Basically, Innovation is doing jack all until the end of the year again. Don't know why. Actually, Jack All is a bit overselling it, but he wasn't. Basically, he wasn't a top player in my opinion until the end of that year. Like, yeah, he has the top 8 in season 1, but I don't remember it being that great. I'll check real quick, but yeah, basically his groups weren't that all that awesome, and then he plays against Life, and like I said, that was a very weird sort of series, but fair play. He was actually you could say he was still good at that point, but he definitely fell off. Now he comes back here, and this is important just because Innovation was the master of this new iteration of mech, and I don't really know who made it. A lot of people say it was Flash, just because Flash was so obsessed with it at points in Pro League. TY was pretty good at with it too. Gumiho always used mech, and Gumiho had used it before them. I don't really know who made it. All I know is Innovation was the best at it, and it was a very grindy sort of boring game. So I'm not going to go over it in too much detail. I'll just say Buell basically figures out how to beat Innovation and does it to win the 5th game in a very long grinding series, and it does it again against TY. So Buell is an incredible player even in this new mech strategy where he accidentally created just because they couldn't beat his anti-bio play. And then you have Buell plays against CJ Hero, and if you remember, CJ he beat up CJ Hero, but you put him in the finals, he chokes, and Buell loses here as well. And then we have season 3 of GSL, right? And Buell makes another run to the GSL finals, very similar to soO in a sense. And he beats the good players. He beats are Zest, Solar. Let's see here. Yeah, those guys weren't that good. And he beats Gumiho, and Gumiho was like another mech player. Beats Deer. Deer had a brief rise of form, like not nearly as good as he was at the end of 2013, but pretty solid. And then he plays Innovation in the finals. Innovation wins with his mech build this time. And of course, Buell kind of chokes. But it's not as excessive as the other ones, basically, in my opinion. What I mean by that is Buell is... Actually, what I mean by excessive, I mean like compared to soO. Just because it feels like, at least in these finals, it does feel a little bit like Buell's been getting outplayed. But it doesn't feel like he's outright throwing or outright tilting. It's just he's not playing to the level I expected of him going into that finals. And so Buell ends the year with three second places. Dark ends the year with 2 second places. And Dream ends the year with 2 second places. And thus we have covered the generation of Kongs of 2015, the Sons of soO. And soO himself does, strangely, in this year, get his one and only championship. So that's it for this one. See you guys later.